Vosh, am I going to lose brain cells over this? If you have to ask, you already know the answer, don't you? Taylor Lorenz released an interview that she got with Chaya Raichik, the Libs of TikTok lady, absolute monster of a woman, and now a government official dedicated primarily to the fine art of harassing and directing bomb threats to schools. An interview. Now, I've seen only one clip from this, but the discourse that I've seen surrounding this interview is that Chaya Raichik comes across as incomprehensibly stupid. Really just like a proper NPC, you know? So let's watch. Also, Chaya came to this interview with, I guess, a picture of Taylor Lorenz on it. Honestly, with no disrespect intended to Taylor, they both look similar enough to me that I could just fully believe this is Chaya as a picture. You know, just, I don't know.
Do you know what, is that a public?
It's a bizarre fit. It's a bizarre fit.
Like park, or is that a private?
No, private.
Private. All right, well, we'll try to keep it short.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Yeah, of course. Oh my gosh, the struggles of LA, I swear. Okay, well, now that we're going, so thank you so much for meeting. First of all, I saw Seth Dillon today saying that you guys are no longer affiliated. What happened with there? I know that he invested in you early, was a huge supporter of you. What happened to that relationship?
Just parted ways.
For what reason?
Personal reasons.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What, you didn't align
Totally amicable. I love Seth.
Yeah.
He's a great mentor.
So why wouldn't you want him involved, or, you know, why isn't he involved in the business anymore?
Just personal reasons. I'm not going to get into it.
Oh, okay. When did that sort of break off?
Recently.
Uh-huh. So how many staffers?
Wait, what are you people arguing about? Vosh never clarified the segment was possible ever or not. Stop putting words in his mouth. His take actually turned into DGG Turbo Doomers. What are you talking about? What are you? Cops are a core defense of the state. Vosh is dead wrong here. He's just being a doomer. Vosh is radical action never going to be possible ever or in our life. What are you talking? What are you arguing about? What? I don't even understand. People that weren't watching during BLM, I don't even know what I can't even discern what from the logs the argument is. I have no idea. Just answer the question, bro. What question? I'll answer the question. What question? What question? What question should I answer? Tell me. I want to know. I'll play the video while I wait.
Tell me a little bit more about your organization.
We are a small team. Just a couple people.
And it's all distributed?
What?
It's what?
It's all distributed, as in it's all remote, pretty much? Or do you guys do you have
yeah.
an office space?
It's remote, yeah.
Got it. So when did you start, I guess? What got you into all this?
Is radical action possible ever or just not? What do you mean by radical action? That's a very vague term. Yeah, of course it's possible ever, conceptually ever, and also in our lifetimes. I don't know what you mean. You did say radical action wasn't possible ever, but I assume that was hyperbolic based on your previous breath. By radical action, what I meant was like this like imaginary aesthetic of people just doing direct action and a thing happening. If by radical action, like you mean big thing happen, then yes, big things do indeed happen all the time. But what I was arguing against was the idea that you can just manifest it without engaging with the dirty, nitty-gritty nonsense of policy and practicality, which is always a requirement if you're going to actually make any changes. That's what I'm talking about. Okay.
I've always wanted to ask you. I know, I mean, I wrote about sort of the history of your Twitter account, but how did you get involved in politics?
If you watch any of my interviews, I talk about this all the time. But just, you know, COVID radicalized me.
Yeah. In what way?
And they were like forcing us to wear masks and not letting us leave our homes. Yeah. And
I don't want to like cast a wide net here in terms of insulting people, but her voice right off the bat makes her sound like a cretin. This is like such a vapid.
You know, not letting us work and people losing their jobs. And then people now forcing a vaccine, an experimental vaccine, people dying from the vaccine.
So how did that get you interested in LGBTQ issues?
It got me interested in politics, and then
I got like, I said people were dying from the vaccine, and well, I got the gay people.
Once I was interested in politics, I stumbled upon this whole movement, and I was absolutely appalled by what I was seeing.
Well, but
That's it? Her whole thing is attacking queer people. Hey, how'd you move into like having opinions in these queer issues? Well, I like saw that and then I like, you know, it was crazy.
what?
The radicalization of it, the way that they come after our most innocent and vulnerable population, or kids. The way that it makes there's nothing logical about it. There's nothing logical about chopping off kids' body parts. There's nothing logical about giving kids porn in school. There's two sexes and that's it. So, you know, anything out of that, it's just based on lies and nonsense.
Yeah. Did you grow up, I know you grew up in a sort of a more conservative community. Did you know any LGBTQ people growing up? What was your exposure to that community just in life prior to sort of understanding the world through politics?
I never really paid attention to it.
So you didn't have any LGBT?
Did you have any experiences with queer people prior to you getting involved in politics? I didn't really pay attention. You know, like if you cracked her noggin open, there'd be nothing in there. Yeah, it's crazy. Like you know that you know there's not necessarily a by the way, the funny thing is like Chaya Raichik was livid after this interview because she went on Twitter and was mad that Taylor Lorenz posted it when Chaya was traveling and couldn't like immediately respond. She posted a bunch of didn't she tweet out something that where she was like listing a bunch of like negative, she was eventually like trashing Taylor right after getting back, but what they had like a really funny opening point. I forget what it was. She has me blocked so I can't look without fumbling around. Oh yeah, she called Taylor Lorenz a lizard person, but there was like there was one the top of the list, you know,
LGBTQ friends or anything?
No.
Family members?
No.
So your first exposure to the LGBTQ world was through basically learning about it through the media ecosystem.
Through themselves, actually. They would say exactly what their intentions are, what their whole movement is about.
Uh-huh.
So I learned about it through watching their own videos.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Well,
she's lying. She comes from an ultra-Orthodox Jewish background. Here, hold on. I googled Chaya Raichik and the news articles behind Taylor Lorenz's painful, agonizing interview of the Libs of TikTok activist. Libs of TikTok exposed as ignorant hypocrite in viral video. Does the Chaya Raichik Wikipedia thing talk about her history, like growing up? No, I don't think it does. Chaya Raichik's Twitter account is the Libs of TikTok Twitter account. And it's just like, oh, here's the bomb threats, you know, here's the doxing, here's the harassing, here's the lying, you know, all that crap.
I don't know. What sort of videos were you watching? I mean, are you just
All
talking
the
about the
ones-
TikToks that you share and stuff?
And tons more on TikTok. It's all over TikTok.
Yeah.
Very easy to find.
Yeah. I'm curious, you know, I feel like there's been, especially on, my colleagues have done great reporting on sort of like this rift on Twitter.
Do
I
it,
know that you
Zaina.
have a very conservative fan base, and in your comments sometimes you'll
Is she mentally unwell or just evil? I literally think she's just a suburban mom. She's just a stupid, evil, conservative mom who just ditzily floated through life until she saw during the pandemic either an opportunity for, or maybe she genuinely was driven to action by that, and she just dumbly regurgitates the biases that she's fed on social media, and now she is what she is with no like greater thought or charisma.
you'll see a lot of commentary about sort of the great replacement theory. What are your thoughts on that?
What are your thoughts on the comments on your post telling me to kill myself?
What?
Horrible. Yeah,
Yeah.
horrible. Obviously against that. Yeah.
So will you come out and condemn that publicly?
Oh, I would condemn it any time. I'm against murdering anyone, of course.
So you're against death threats against me?
I'm a big, you know, as somebody that's dealt with a lot of online harassment, I don't defend threatening to murder anyone. But I guess I'm curious, you know,
Because a lot of times it
She really doesn't want to talk about the great replacement thing.
comes after an attack in the media, like someone like you or another journalist.
so are you saying that, like, you know, if somebody posts something and then attacks follow, that person should answer for those attacks?
No, that's not what I'm saying.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
saying that they
Yeah, Chaya Raichik really does not want to enable the idea that you personally are responsible for any attacks from people who follow you. She really does. She legally does not want to go down that road.
people like you tell me that all the time. So I'm just asking if you think the same thing.
Yeah, I don't think I have said that here, but you know, I think it's kind of interesting, I guess, in the conservative movement, there's this ideology around sort of white nationalism, which is obviously kind of a hardline ideology that's generally been pretty critical of Jewish communities. And I'm wondering, as a Jewish woman, how do you feel about sort of aligning yourself with those people and accounts? You know, you see this sort of rhetoric in your replies, and I only bring it up, I'm not saying that you necessarily endorse that rhetoric, I would imagine that you don't, but how do you kind of think about those nuances when you're thinking about kind of the audience that you're building?
Some of your audience says we should chop off kids' body parts.
Holy shit! Oh my god! She's actually like nothing. My impression from this, Chaya is genuinely like low IQ, and the reason, like, it takes some degree of charisma to navigate questions like this, you know? And she just doesn't have it. So if she feels like she's stumped by it, she'll just, you're gay. The right's response to this has been so funny. Yes, a lot of people, the reason Chaya Raichik went on social media and like denounced this and got really mad about the interview isn't because people on the left are trashing her. It's because people on the right are trashing her. She is one of the loudest and most aggressive far-right advocates on social media, and she already is like on thin ice because obviously the Nazi movement in the conservative wing is pretty like loud at the moment, and she is Jewish, so that's a part of it. But also, like, she looks so stupid here that it genuinely just makes them look bad. You finally get one of these, like, you know, Twitter, dipshit activists or whatever here, and ask them some questions, and she can't answer anything. It's like that poll thread when you and Destiny debated Stryker and Alsop when they were coping about how poorly their favorite neo-Nazis did. Yeah, literally. They can't deal with it.
What do you think about that?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Like, a girl says she wants to be a boy, so she chops off her breasts.
I'm a big, you know, I believe in personal liberty and bodily autonomy personally.
So kids should be able to cut off their breasts if they think that they're boys.
I mean, I believe in gender ideology. I guess I personally, my feeling is that I believe in personal liberty. I grew up in a town where a lot of people, for their middle school graduation, women got nose jobs. I knew somebody that got a boob job at age 14. And I guess I struggle to kind of understand the criticism when there's certainly no criticism of that sort of thing, right?
I don't like the I believe in gender ideology framing. I do like framing this as a personal freedom thing, rather than talking about like going into a big thing on, like, you know, trans identity or whatever, or validating their identity, but making this about personal freedom. I think that's a very smart, like, direction to take it in.
But then there's criticism of this other sort of gender affirming, you know, stuff. So
you're comparing a boy being allowed to chop off his penis to a teenage girl getting a nose job?
Well, just to be extra clear, I don't believe that 13-year-olds are able to make those sort of medical decisions.
Minors are, yeah.
Oh, really? And where?
Yeah. Children's National Hospital in D.C. gives 16-year-olds hysterectomies.
Oh, 16-year-olds.
They gave me that. They told me that directly. They said 16 girls and younger. That's what they said. So hysterectomies. There are definitely minors. I know for sure.
Hysterectomies are done for a variety of medical reasons. Did they mean hysterectomies for trans things? Because a hysterectomy is a removal of the womb. Trans guys don't usually remove the womb. I guess they can, but that's not step one, you know? Like, there's top and bottom surgery. That's like inside surgery. Hysterectomies, I don't normally see those listed alongside trans guys often get hysterectomy. No, trans guys sometimes do. I'm not saying they don't, but the idea, like, she said they can get hysterectomies, okay, for purely trans stuff, you know?
12 who are getting double mastectomies. They definitely allow vaginoplasties for minors and phalloplasties. I'm not aware of a specific case of a minor, but they allow 18-year-olds.
Yeah, which has, you know, okay, 18-year-olds, you're an adult. But let's just get back to the great replacement stuff, because I'm curious, what are your thoughts on that whole ideology?
I mean,
okay, wait, quick. Is she going to deflect by pausing for 8 seconds and then saying, how do you feel about gay bathrooms? Or is she going to respond? Answers in chat.
How many? There were times that there were some months over the past 3 years that there were more illegals coming into our border than children being born in the U.S. Is that not? Does that not look like they're trying to replace us?
Who's they? Chaya, out of curiosity, who's they?
I guess sort of imagine
bringing in
America
a whole
as
new population.
a melting pot. Isn't that sort of what America was founded
No,
on?
but they're actually bringing in more people than are actually being born.
So I guess it sounds like you sort of do ascribe to this theory of the Great Replacement. How does that make
I just
you
look at the
feel?
facts and the numbers.
Well, so, I mean, just let's give a corollary, right? A lot of Jewish people fled, Europe, came over here also as immigrants. And there's a lot of criticism towards Jewish people in those movements, in those far-right movements. So I'm just wondering, as a Jewish woman, sort of how you feel about that and your role in cultivating this fan base that might think of you as a minority or an outsider.
Not all cultures are equal. Yeah.
So
Wait. So her argument is like, yeah, the Nazis who didn't want to let Jews in World War II were right, but against the wrong people. That's the hit argument we're trying out with this one. Mask the fuck off. Yeah, no kidding.
I know you have a lot of concerns about educational materials and books, library books and things, especially.
Yeah, her argument is literally, the Nazis had a point.
Supporting people who want to destroy America and who come here and do not stand for what America
Cruelty
stands
Squad
for.
border?
So, and I think, and we see it, there's time after time after time after time. They come in, they're destroying our cities. They
The
bring
vine
crime
light
with
has been
them,
severed.
And they are bringing them in to replace us. And yeah, I think people from various countries, they're all different.
So, just back to the sort of education stuff, I know that you're interested in removing a bunch of books from libraries that you consider inappropriate. I was just wondering, out of all the books that you've sort of tried to get removed, how many have you read?
I've read.
Sure, Tempest, but that's like the idea of that being done at like 16 for transition purposes. Like certainly I haven't heard of that. The idea of like a phalloplasty and hysterectomy both being done to a 16-year-old trans boy. I certainly don't think it's common. Yeah, I haven't heard of that either,
A couple of them.
Which ones?
Genderqueer.
I've
read This Book is Gay. I've read Flamer. I've read. What were some of the other ones? My Shadow is Pink. It Feels Good to Be Yourself. There's so many more. Tons of them.
How do you kind of square, would you say, I feel like you are, or at least I feel like you've spoken about free speech before and the need for free speech and sort of supported Elon Musk's sentiments in that area. Would you say that you're a free speech supporter?
Yeah.
I really want her to ask what's wrong with Latin American culture, lol, really rub the salt in the room. Yeah, she's not smart enough to dance around and like optically, and the funny thing is right now is that like this is also a tough line for okay, so to be clear, right? Republicans are very anti-immigrant and they're very racist and blah, blah, blah. We all understand this. This is not new. We understand this. However, Republicans, for the most part, try to frame this as an opposition to illegal immigration. For one, there are a lot of Latin people in the U.S. That's a big voting demographic. And a lot of those Latin people who vote Republican do so while being proud of their home culture. They just also don't like the illegal immigration because they think like, oh, well, we came here legally, why can't they? So Chaya Raichik is doing the opposite thing and essentially saying, no, the problem with the illegal immigrants is that their culture is degenerate because she's like Nazi tier arguments and a lot of this shit, right? Like, holy she didn't even answer what Taylor asked about how do you feel about how Nazis like the Great Replacement theory, So it would be a pretty impossible optical line to walk, and she couldn't do it.
So how do you square the sort of being this free speech supporter with wanting to ban literature?
What kind of literature?
any kind of literature. I mean, I would think that
What
if
kind of
you're-
literature am I trying to ban?
Oh, I thought you were just trying to say you've made an effort to get books removed from schools.
What kind of books?
Books dealing with LGBTQ people and sexual
No, that's
education.
not what I said.
Oh, so you're not trying to get any books banned from school?
That's not what I said either.
Okay, why don't you explain to me how you're thinking about this?
You just accused me of wanting to ban books. What kind of books am I trying to ban?
You tell me.
I'm not trying to ban anything.
But you're not trying to
They sent the greatest minds.
ban any
Who
books.
said I'm trying to ban books?
Are you trying to remove books from libraries?
From public school libraries.
Okay. So how do you square your sort of notion of free speech and free expression and allowing all of that stuff with wanting literature removed and wanting access to information removed?
What kind of literature?
You tell me.
Porn. Gay porn.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And what do you consider gay porn in these books?
So you want to see it?
Are you talking about the stuff that you've tweeted, basically? You consider
Yeah,
it
like there's
inappropriate?
pictures of like blowjobs and like how to have gay sex with like naked people and people masturbating and stuff. Yeah,
Did you?
like pictures of it.
Oh,
Yeah.
totally. And
Yeah.
I went to public school. And we had a sex ed class in public school where we were shown, information about sexual health and, sex and masturbation and things like that. I'm curious about your own education. I mean, was that something did you ever go to a sex ed class, or is this all
Actually, if she was really raised Orthodox Jewish, it's very possible she wasn't given sex ed.
sort of new to you, where you're sort of learning about how this works in public schools?
I'm not. I don't live under a rock.
What?
So you did have sex ed classes when you were growing up?
We had some kind of education. Yeah.
So you do think it's important for children to have education, sex education?
Not the way they're doing it in public schools.
How are they doing it?
They're giving kids porn and telling.
It's so crazy how like this entire wave of reactionary like free speech crackdowns in schools is because you know fully well that like a few school districts had in their high school libraries tucked into the corner like an LGBT section with just a couple books that like the librarian got recommended by some online resource or whatever, and occasionally high school students would open them up and giggle and go like, oh look, it's like a drawing of a boob in there, which you could see from any like biology textbook or anatomy class or any of that bullshit, and is infinitely less gratuitous than the actual sex education they would have gotten. I was shown a video of a baby being born. I was shown like plenty of illustrations of genitalia. Like I like significantly less graphic than any of that. So like the kids open it up to boobies, and now because like that was in a few school districts, Chaya Raichik and the entire Republican Party gets to pretend that every single public school student in America is being given like a 3-week extensive course on sexuality by being shown Pornhub clips or something.
Third graders that they should masturbate. They're giving middle school children guides to gay sex and anal sex.
Yeah, that's true. That's what the average middle school student is getting right now. Not just like one school that had like a LGBT section had that or whatever. Just insane shit.
Sex toys.
How would you describe the type of sex education that you would like to see in schools?
At this point,
Good
I
question.
want all sex education actually removed from schools.
Oh wow! What a goddamn convenient answer that is.
Because I don't trust the schools to do it.
Okay.
After what we've seen, I don't trust them at all. Zero. We need to
This is a pro groomer take, by the way, unironically.
completely eradicate it and then redo it in a normal way that's appropriate.
Wait, so what? Wait, so you redo? So wait, you do want it then? What do you mean redo it in a different way? Then just say what you want to redo it to. What are you talking about? It's like she realized after saying that it's not good optics for her to say she just wants to ban all sex ed. So afterwards she was like, well, we'll ban it, but then we'll like unban it better.
So I saw you said that you got banned from Stripe today. How much money did you have tied up in that platform?
I'm not going to get into that. They already restored me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you're back.
Yeah.
I noticed, I think it was around last summer, you deleted a lot of your tweets and you kind of stopped posting. This is when Seth Dillon kind of tweeted, asking if you fell off or, saying that you weren't posting as you used to. What happened during that time, and did you think about quitting?
I have no idea, and no, I never thought about quitting.
Out of curiosity, did the interviewer ask about male circumcision? You especially because again, Orthodox Jewish person, right? Like you'd think that'd be a pretty good thing to go in on, right?
Why'd you delete all your old posts?
It was just a one-time editorial decision. I stand by all my posts.
You know, I guess speaking of deleting posts, you still have a post up accusing the Uvalde shooter of being trans. Obviously, that's been debunked.
Yeah, there's a community note on it.
So why not remove that post if you're so comfortable with removing posts?
Because there's a community note. I think it's clear. It's obviously it was unintentional. There was a watermark on it. It was from a meme, an account that was going around, and I'm glad there's a community note so people know that that was a mistake.
Do you believe if, say, a journalist posts something factually incorrect or wrong, especially about someone else, you know, if somebody was to say something factually wrong about you, do you believe they should remove that, or do you think they should be able to keep that content up?
Twitter is free speech.
Jesus Christ, genuinely, like there's nothing going on up there. Holy f***.
You know, people lie about me all the time on there, and they don't get taken down. If you want, it has to go both ways.
So you believe that people should be allowed to keep up wrong information about you and have no recourse, be able to keep that up?
Free speech is free speech.
Okay. So I'm kind of curious how you square that with the letter that you sent this morning to V Sphere, claiming that, you know, you were going to try to sue her for slander. You know, if free speech is free speech, then why are you threatening your critics with lawsuits?
Well,
Great question.
defamation is different.
So would you call misidentifying a shooter's sexuality defamation?
No, I wouldn't. Like I said, there's already a community note on it. So I'm glad that people now.
And you admit
know.
that it's wrong, right? Was the Uvalde shooter
and I
trans?
wasn't the creator of that.
I call myself a journalist, but I just like reposted a meme. You know, not the only time that Chaya Raichik has blatantly lied. That's pretty much a daily thing. This is just like one example.
Image.
Sure, but you can imagine if somebody amplified wrong information.
You know, the media, like
Media?
Washington Post and other places, they lie all the time. They're never held accountable. They never remove it. They lie and lie and lie. So I am not gonna. If you want to hold me to that level, then I get to hold you to that level as well.
So her defense is literally like, other people lie, so I can lie. Rather than implying it, she's just outwardly stating it. That's just flatly what she says. Like, oh, other people lie, so remarkable.
And all the other media. So I just don't think, it's not accurate to compare it, because
Was the Uvalde shooter trans?
the Uvalde shooter wasn't trans.
Got it. And so I guess knowing that you posted wrong information, you're saying it should stay up and everybody else should be allowed to keep whatever they have up as well. Is that sort of your stance? Am I accurately understanding it?
Is there a law against...
No, I'm not asking law. I'm just
lying?
asking your personal sort of opinion. I'm just kind of curious because it seems like you have come after other people, such as vSphere and other critics, saying you posted wrong information about me, take it down. I totally get that. That's your prerogative.
It's different with defaming a journalist like that. They're defaming me.
And you don't think that calling a shooter trans when they weren't trans is defaming anyone?
No.
Okay, interesting. I guess I'm kind
They're knowingly lying about me.
And you...
Taylor didn't even... that statement was so inherently self-contradictory that all Taylor could do was go like, okay, all right, okay.
And what would you say that you did when you sort of posted that about the shooter being trans?
Like I said, an image that was going around for months that I shared from another thing accidentally, and I'm glad there's a community note on it.
I know you come from a more traditional family and sort of a more traditional culture. What is your family and think of your success? You've made a huge career for yourself.
Wasn't there just recently another shooting where the right immediately jumped on calling them trans for no reason other than because they could, and then it was proven they weren't trans, and they were just like, oh, okay. Because they'll just do it with every shooting now. Like, they don't care. It's not like there's any consequence to them lying.
Obviously a rising star in conservative media. How's that affected your interpersonal relationships?
I'm not going to get personal. I'm
Uh-huh.
going to my personal relationships.
Yeah. How's it affected your life? I mean, just dealing with this sort of fame relatively overnight.
So, I mean, thanks in partly to you, there's been a lot of like death threats, a lot of really nasty messages.
But you seem kind of proud about the press that you've received. I mean, your profile picture is holding up a newspaper with you in the headline.
Yeah, a newspaper where they just basically lied about me. I thought it's funny that they just continue to make up these like lies and lies.
But as we've established, lying is fine because everyone does it, right?
You've gotten a big, I mean, even if you discount the mainstream media and just talk about the conservative media, I think you're...
She sounds like a drunk sorority girl. What the fuck? She does sound kind of drunk, but she's not. She's just stupid. It's like a Valley Girl accent, kind of, but it's not just that, too. It's just like, I just think it's like vapid suburbanite mom shit applied to fascism, you know? Vapid suburbanites have always been a bulwark of fascism. Now we're just seeing it applied in like a particularly stupid way. It's a Long Island accent. It's a very Valley Long Island. It's the Valley of the Long Island, okay? The Brooklyn Valley.
Platform has risen pretty significantly. What changes has it had on you? I mean, I cover the content creator industry, and I've seen...
She's not a mom, though? Oh, no, sorry, not a mom.
A lot of people go from sort of a very low-key life, which I would imagine you're living before, to a massive amount of attention and, you know, money and powerful people around you. How has that affected you?
Like I said, some safety issues. In part thanks to...
Well, it's a good thing that Chaya hasn't made an entire career of directing terroristic bomb threats at schools and individuals that she doesn't like, you know.
To you and to some other members of the media. But I'm not going to get into my personal life.
Oh, no, not about your personal life. I'm just wondering about your career aspirations. Where do you see yourself in 10 years?
We'll see. You can make all the plans you want, and God could decide something else,
So you don't have any sort of 5-year plan, 10-year plan?
I mean, I have plans, but nothing I'm going to share.
Mm-hmm. I'm curious, you know, if Trump was reelected, would you be interested in a job with his administration?
Maybe.
Mm-hmm. Who are you supporting in the election?
There's one candidate, Trump. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Will you be campaigning on his behalf?
We'll see.
I mean, are you hoping to kind of...
She's so bad. And she is remarkably uncharismatic. Like, this is exceptional. There's a normal level of uncharismatic that you just expect from people who haven't had media training, and that's fine. This is remarkable, though. You could go find anyone else off the street of LA and ask them questions, and they would give you more like animated, thoughtful responses than this. Is she worse than Elon? Yeah, I'd say so. Elon is pretty uncharismatic, but mostly in like a kind of like a ditzy autism, you know, like spacey sort of way. He doesn't come across as very smart, but he does come across as ponderous. She just comes across as vapidly stupid, you know?
I guess, like, would you see yourself in DC?
I haven't made any plans yet.
How did you get connected with Oklahoma, the state of Oklahoma? And how many times have you been to that state?
I was there once. They have, unfortunately, a lot of wokeness in their red state, and I'm trying to help.
How'd you originally how'd Oklahoma get on your radar as opposed to some others?
Because I started posting about the stuff going on in schools there, you know, like I do across the country. And then, you know, people were very upset that this was happening in their schools.
So, and you've been once. What do you think qualifies you to be on the board or, you know, have to do with education, the education system there? Being that I don't believe you have children in the Oklahoma schools, you don't live in Oklahoma, you've only been once. How does that qualify you to sort of serve in that capacity?
What are the qualifications that they require to be on this committee?
What? That wasn't the question. I like how Taylor is like, hey, so what qualifies you to do this? And Chaya's response is, you don't need any qualifications.
USA Today reported on that, but I believe it was that you had to, oh God, I might get it wrong, but I think you have to be some sort of educator. You have to have worked as an educator.
Okay, I was a teacher once.
You were?
Yeah.
Okay. So you feel like that qualifies you to sort of inform policies in Oklahoma?
I wasn't aware of any kind
Where?
of qualifications that they require.
Uh-huh.
I don't believe they require any qualifications.
Yeah, I was
So-
thinking
Imagine this, detached from all politics bullshit, and you are just like a totally grilling, normie Oklahoman parent, and you hear about an educational board appointing her as a committee member, and this interview is the first time that you've seen her. And she's asked what got her interested in Oklahoma, a state she's only been to once, to be appointed as a member of the educational committee. And she's asked about her qualifications, and she's like, there aren't any qualifications. Like, can you imagine the confidence this would inspire in a teacher?
more even just informally. But that makes sense. I guess, speaking of Oklahoma, obviously we saw the tragic death of Nex, a young
very
child.
tragic.
I'm curious about your reaction. You posted a selfie shortly after people were asking you to address the issue, and you said, to the haters and the losers. Who are you addressing in that statement?
Anyone who hates me and anyone who's a loser.
I have to say, I'm being left very little for analysis here. I'm not being given much to work with.
Okay. Why would you choose to post that in response to people asking you to speak about this child's death?
It was not a response to that.
I guess why would you post that prior to making any statement about Nex's death?
So, just to be clear, you're trying to police me on when I'm allowed to post
No,
selfies?
just curious.
I wanted to post it. I thought it was a cute picture, and I just decided to post it.
Okay, the most revealing thing here is not that she did the whole "you're trying to police me" thing, but that she actually seemed placated by Taylor reassuring her that she's not. Actual child brain. Like, literally, like 8-year-old, You trying to police me? No, I'm not. Okay, well, I did it for this reason. Like, it wasn't just a rhetorical bit. It was actually like her, dude.
How do you feel about Nex's death?
It's very tragic. It's horrible.
Do you believe Nex should have been allowed to receive gender-affirming care?
She should not be allowed to go on irreversible puberty blockers or get sex change surgery.
Puberty blockers are by definition reversible.
What do you think about the fact that, so often your posts, things that you post about hospitals, libraries, schools, etc., after you make these posts about them, they deal with threats, sometimes bomb threats, sometimes harassment.
We don't know who's calling in the threats. Look, bomb threats are bad. I've said that 1,000 times.
Woke.
People who call in bomb threats should be arrested and investigated. You can't call in bomb threats. But I just don't know what does it have to do with.
Well, I guess, a recent NBC investigation found at least 33 instances where you posted about a specific person or institution, and that person or institution was immediately bombarded with death threats and violent threats, including bomb threats, other violent threats. That's a pretty significant correlation.
33. Yeah, that's a lot.
How do you, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I don't know if you saw, but I got tons of death threats this week after the entire media machine came after me. So are they responsible for those?
I don't think that there's the same correlation. Are you receiving bomb threats?
I'm receiving death threats, like, hi, I'm gonna come murder you.
Yeah, and I definitely sympathize with you there, because I get those
literally,
every day.
the article goes live and then I get those threats.
I get the same thing when a Fox News article goes live.
So is the journalist responsible? The journalist who posted the article?
I would say, there's a different responsibility when we're talking about media, and I guess to me, a death threat is different than a violent bomb threat. A death threat, I think we're...
Also, the critical distinction here, obviously, is that both Taylor and Chaya Raichik are prominent. Well, Taylor's a journalist. Chaya Raichik is an internet troll that's been elevated to superstardom by the right wing, who enjoys the fact that she engages in stochastic terrorism. But the people that receive bomb or death threats after Chaya Raichik draws attention to them are literally just random people or schools. They're not already extremely controversial or broadly hated public figures. Literally, a person will just have no public prominence, no broader impact or footprint, and then Chaya Raichik will draw attention to them and they'll get the death threats, which is a pretty big distinction. There's a pretty huge distinction in terms of correlation between that and just like somebody who is literally like Chaya Raichik literally like her profile picture is her holding up a paper saying like this woman is responsible for death threats or whatever and being happy about it. You know, it's not like she doesn't already make an image of herself, you know, for controversy or hate.
Kind of getting normalized to them, unfortunately, online. We get a lot of them. Probably you and I get them constantly, 24/7. I'm wondering kind of how you think about taking these obscure people, right? Because you and I are both public.
Oh, she's making that point. Oh, perfect. She's making that point. I'm impressed. That is the correct point to make, but I think it also takes a little bit of reflection to go like, oh, well, what is the difference? Okay, nice.
Figures, and I imagine you and I we have a high tolerance, right, for what we can handle online. Say you're taking a private citizen, you know, a gay teacher, for instance, in a small town.
Taylor's constant efforts to draw a comparison between herself and Chaya is fantastic, by the way, because she's doing it intelligently in a way that you know is getting under Chaya's skin, but she can't say anything about it because if she did, it would be this like weird meandering, like it's being applied very intelligently. And also this framing of like, well, we're big girls, we can handle it, but these other people maybe not. Like, again, drawing comparisons in a way that make it difficult for Chaya to like provide a defense.
And you post about that person, and then that person subsequently, who had no media presence prior, receives pretty violent threats. How does that make you feel?
We need to answer the question first, though. Is the journalist responsible for actions that have to happen after?
It actually took her like a solid few seconds there to string together that point that she had already made. She actually, wow. Jesus.
So you consider sort of your posts about private citizens, incendiary posts, you consider that journalism?
I'm an independent journalist.
Uh-huh. And do you think that there's a difference between doing journalism on a completely private figure that has no public presence and no institutional power versus reporting on a powerful public institution or person?
You still didn't answer the question. Is the journalist responsible for reporting for any actions that happen after the reporting?
Personally,
it obviously depends on what they're doing and who they're doing it to. Blowing up a bunch of attention on a random citizen is like an extremely irresponsible thing to do unless there's like some preempting event, like they committed a big crime or they did terrorism or whatever. If the hate that so in the case of Chaya Raichik, the hate that she gets is a product of people correctly pointing out the horrible, monstrous stuff that she does. Like, all you really have to do, like, Chaya Raichik would describe her own Wikipedia article as slanderous, you know, like or libelous. It's you just have to describe what she does. Whereas what she does to other people is she will find like a random person on TikTok with 8 followers who's like a substitute teacher in a school district and they're like gay and they have purple hair or something. And Chaya will post a video of theirs where they're saying like, I believe in inclusivity. And Chaya will be like, by inclusivity, this person means pedophile. Light them up, boys. And then that person gets 50 trillion death threats, which are slightly different, I feel, you know, kind of engagement.
I think that journalists should take care and should consider sort of the framing, and I think that they should do their best not to appear as if they encourage that sort of behavior. I've noticed that you haven't necessarily publicly condemned that behavior, publicly told your supporters, listen, guys, stop calling in these bomb threats.
Who said it's my followers? Do you have information that it's my followers?
I guess who else's followers would it be?
I don't know.
So
there's 300 million people in this country.
So you post bomb threats follow, and you're saying it might be just unrelated people?
I have no idea.
I don't even know. Holy f***, she's so stupid. She's literally like she is acting the way I would act to make fun of somebody. I don't even know who there's 300 million people in this country. Like,
I don't know who it is.
Have you taken steps to
She's
find
swaying.
out?
Is she drunk?
We filed some FOIAs with police departments. Yeah.
What have you found?
We haven't got to anything useful yet that we can use. But actually, one of them, we know it's like some foreign actor, not even from the country. So who knows who it is?
Yeah.
You know your Twitter posts are seen by everyone, right? Like people in other countries can see American Twitter posts.
it seems like Twitter is your main platform these days, although I know you've been posting on Rumble.
Ian Miles Chong, yeah. Spiritually American. Listen, I believe that anyone is American if they have the heart of an American, and there is no one on earth who wants to be American more than Ian Miles Chong, okay?
How much money have you made from the platform?
It's personal.
Is that what sort of portion of your revenue is based on Twitter as opposed to other platforms?
That's personal. So speaking of Twitter, do you regret not getting a blue check? Because then you can make tons of money.
No.
Do you regret not getting a blue check? Because you can make tons of money. I can't get over this, man.
Speaking of Twitter, do you regret not getting a blue check? Because then you can make tons of money.
Is this like a drug thing? Is this like a Botox thing? Why is she talking like this? This is agonizing.
No, I don't monetize online.
I don't monetize.
Yeah, I don't. If I was an independent journalist, maybe, but I'm not. I don't monetize on any of my social platforms.
Make sure to donate. To me.
I noticed you've sort of, speaking of the media, you've changed your approach recently, or at least it seems like you're being a little bit more antagonistic towards the media and a little bit more forceful in the way that you speak about the media. What led to that change?
Being lied about and defamed for 2.5 years.
They made a Wikipedia article about me. It's full of lies. The sources that they point to are lies. They source articles that are lies. All of them.
I guess what led to, I would assume you felt like that for quite a while. What led you to sort of change the way that you speak about the media, or the sort of...
Well, their attacks were ramping up. So, like I said, the lies and the defamation.
This is the same thing Trump did, by the way. When he was gunning up his campaign, he wanted to expand libel and slander laws because the media was correctly and accurately reporting the many very stupid things he did and said. And so he just referred to all of them broadly as the lying media and wanted to be able to sue them for being correct.
The hypocrisy.
If
The hypocrisy.
The hypocrisy.
The hypocrisy.
If you eradicate transgenderism, which I believe you suggested in a post today.
No, I never suggested that.
Oh, okay. You reposted a post that was advocating for that. What would happen to the people that have already medically, socially, completely transitioned and are leading happy lives? What would happen to them? I mean, what's your plan for that? If transgenderism doesn't exist, which it seems like that's what you believe, what happens to all the people living happy lives as trans people?
Well, first of all, the whole trans it's based on a lie. You can't change your gender.
You can't change your gender. Well, first of all, you can't change your gender.
Okay, but
so they could go live their life. I mean,
this is remarkable because I feel like I could be engaging in some kind of rhetorical analysis, but I am just mesmerized by how incredibly repellent she is. Like she's actually like, she is conservatism's strongest soldier because she's the greatest possible argument for misogyny. like it's insane. This is like, she legit sounds like a Borat character. A caricature of stupid American Valley girl. She does! Mental EMP of a person. Yeah.
I can't tell someone what to do in their house.
Sounds like you do want to tell people what to do in their house.
I never said that.
What?
So you're totally okay with people being trans, just not as long as they're in public?
No, I never said that. They could... the whole thing is based off of a lie, and I think that... this lie cannot be mainstream in our society. It's a lie.
And what harm is it causing, do you believe?
I like the truth. I like truth.
Right, but I'm saying what's the harm of people expressing their gender identity differently than you believe it to be? What harm are they causing?
Like I said, we are a nation of truth, and I seek the truth.
But
incredible. It's incredible. It's like a different like evolutionary path. It's remarkable. Like you merely wielded the dumb argument. Chaya Raichik, however, born into it. Like, do you think that she thinks the way that we do? Is this like an NPC thing? This is like medically interesting. It is Vosh, yeah, she needs to be studied. Like, what is going on? How do the neurons light up when she thinks something?
but I'm asking about the harm. What's the harm? You might believe it to be false, but what's
The harm is that there's a lie that is very mainstream and is being embedded into every institution.
I guess I'm wondering what the material harm is. Aside from it's maybe something that you disagree with, as in your version of the truth is different than their version of the truth. What is the material harm of them living their life as a woman or man or gender that you don't agree
Not anything that's wrong is there a material harm necessarily.
with? So there's no harm.
I didn't say that.
So can you
No wonder conservatives are mad at her over this interview, dude. She can't even... There are like 50 canned arguments any conservative could make about like material harm or whatever. You could talk about desistance or body trauma or like or suicide. You could say anything. You could say anything. But she can't.
name a single harm?
The way that it's pushed onto kids, first of all.
What? That's not...
What's pushed onto kids?
Gender ideology.
Okay, what
transgender.
material...
But if they're leading happy lives and they just are leading a
Well,
different...
there are studies that show that they're more suicidal after transition.
That's not true, by the way. Often stated, factually incorrect. Moving on.
No, that's not true.
Yeah, there's a study out of Sweden.
That is not true. That is not true.
Yeah, you can look up the study.
Well,
Yeah, I can look up the study. The version of this study that I'm familiar with is that they compared post-surgery trans people and their suicidality rates to cisgender people. So basically, rather than comparing post and pre-surgery, it compared post and being cisgender. It was really dumb. The study didn't demonstrate anything. It was made by people who hate you, demons.
taking into account all of the happy people that have transitioned who are not harming anyone, you can't come up with a single material harm.
So if someone says, I'll be happier if I'm blind, should a doctor pull their eyes out?
I think that's quite different than gender ideology, but people do, I guess.
Someone says I'm happier if I chop my...
If there were literally tens of millions of people all across the world who felt like deep burning into in pain and anxiety and depression because they could see, and we had bunches of studies that showed they lived happier lives if they blinded themselves, that's very different than gender shit. Because blinding yourself means imposing a disability, and you don't impose a disability by transitioning. However, at the very least, it would be worth having a conversation about, right? Like, hey, why do tens of millions of people, and then we have the studies, and they're all happier after. To be fair, watching this video makes me feel that way. Yes! Watching this video is the answer. Does this not also make you want to go blind? Now you can understand. Cis people, now you know that feeling you have to gouge your own eyes out. It's just like that. God. Millions are happier with their ears pierced. Yeah, that would be a better comparison, I feel. Because piercing your ears doesn't lead to a disability, whereas blinding yourself does. This is the study they're talking about. From 2011, holy shit, in research on trans people years, that's like 50 million years ago. Long-term follow-up of trans persons undergoing sex reassignment surgery cohort study in Sweden. Population match cohort study to estimate mortality, morbidity, and criminal rate after surgical sex reassignment of transsexual persons. 324 sex reassigned persons, birth year, sex, final rate. Hazard rates, 95% confidence intervals, mortality, The overall mortality for sex reassigned persons was higher during follow-up than for controls of the same birth sex. Yeah, it's exactly what I remembered. Yeah, they're saying, oh, wow, that's crazy, man. All the medical bills and social shit you have to deal with, even after transitioning, family members and friends not accepting you, they're being compared to cis people. People with transsexualism after sex reassignment have considerably higher risk for mortality, suicidal behavior, and psychiatric morbidity than the general population. But if it improves from what they were before... Yeah, exactly, Annie. This fails at the first hurdle, but even if it didn't, there are still other hurdles. Doesn't this study later suggest we can alleviate these issues with accepting them? Our findings suggest that sex reassignment, although alleviating gender dysphoria, may not suffice as treatment for transsexualism and should inspire improved psychiatric and somatic care after sex reassignment for the patient group. There you go, Chaya Raichik. By the data you cite, the argument is as follows. You must give the trans people, the transsexuals, back massages and say nice things about them. That's what the study says.
Take off, and we should just let them do that.
I think, there's a lot of gender affirming care that women do, right? I mean, women ascribe to certain gender things. You see women getting boob jobs to affirm their gender. I mean, we're in Los Angeles. We see this kind of gender affirming.
So again, you're comparing boob jobs and nose jobs to
Well, they're gender
people
affirming.
being buying into the lie that they could change their sex.
Breast
Boob jobs are literally top surgery. You were literally bitching earlier about top surgery. Boob jobs are just reverse top surgery. Well, I guess they can be half top surgery. Yeah.
enhancements are gender affirming for women. There's a lot of women that feel small chested. They feel like it would be gender affirming for them to have plastic surgery, and they're allowed to do it. And I noticed that you don't critique that. I guess I'm curious, Haya, you know, there are a lot of people that have ideas about women, right? And about what makes a woman, right? What makes a appropriate
Getting the cinematic coffee angle. James Somerton on the behind the camera giving us the dynamic shot.
woman. How should a woman? You're saying you're against people sort of like living lies or living outside this ideology that you've constructed. Some might say, look, we're both women over the age of 25, working. I certainly don't have kids. You know, they might consider that not okay for a woman. Do you think it's up to that? Do you think it's okay for them to dictate how you live your life as a woman? Do you think it's up or sort of where does that line get drawn?
So again, you're comparing boob jobs.
She, why even say words to her? You know, you could have brought like a cat toy, like a stick with a string on the end, and dangled it in front of her, and you might have been able to get similar results.
To a teenage girl chopping off her breasts.
Well, first of all, teenage girls get boob jobs, but breast enhancements are gender affirming for many women. I'm asking you, why is it that people have to live under your sort of view of gender? And
It's not my view, it's science. It's facts, it's biology.
But
It's
biology,
facts.
if we're talking biology, there's a spectrum of gender. There's people that are intersex.
That is a rare medical condition.
A rare medical condition. Oh, so she's acknowledging it. Okay.
It has nothing to do with someone deciding that they could be the opposite gender.
I guess I'm still kind of struggling to understand how you think, if your view, say tomorrow Trump is elected, he says, all right, we're going to all live by Haya's, decisions, right? What about all these happy trans people that are living their lives that are not harming anyone? What harm are they doing by living their life as a woman who've medically transitioned? They're adults. I understand.
We literally pick genders for intersex people. The funny thing to me is that Chaya Raichik was born into what? Like a wealthy, Orthodox, conservative New York neighborhood, which means that every woman she spoke to where she grew up probably has had work done. They're in LA now, so probably the same for living here. What's funny to me is that if Chaya Raichik was smart, she would have said that she also doesn't approve of boob jobs being done by 16-year-old girls for non-trans reasons. But because she grew up in an environment where everyone was rich and vapid and had lots of work done, it doesn't occur to her to. So she's being too honest and acknowledging that she's not consistent. The smart thing for her to do would be to pretend that she is consistent and does have an issue with all of that and does think that it's all bad. It's really funny. She can't even lie properly.
And you have problems with kids, but with adult trans people, what's the harm that they're doing to society?
To society, they're spreading a lie that is affecting children also.
So you just believe gender is a lie. And what if somebody...
Also, this line of argument where the only thing that you care about is the truth value, the implication of this is that you should ban or socially disallow anything that you don't think is true, which immediately leads to questions about, I don't know, religious freedom. Like, if you're making the argument that the only harm trans people need to present is that they're living a lie, let's go, because I've got homeopathy, faith healing, homeostasis. No, not homeostasis. What's the term with the water? What's the term with the water, where the water keeps the magical memory? What am I thinking about? Homeopathy? That is the term? It is homeopathy? Okay, gotcha. I think I was thinking of homeostasis as the thing that wasn't that thing. Okay, homeopathy. Yeah, chiropractic, which was made up by a guy who thought he was being given instructions by ghosts. Mormonism. But, well, hey, listen, because Protestants run the country more or less, Chaya Raichik, very, very sorry, but the existence of non-Protestants, Catholics, Jews, Muslims, any other group, Sorry, apparently that should all be banned on account of spreading a lie or whatever. I mean, that's the argument, right? This is the reason why when conservatives are lying about this bullshit, they usually do it in the context of like surgeries or physical harm. Because if you get into these abstract arguments about truth values, you immediately get into a bunch of unanswerable social questions. Genuine question, how thin do you think the line is between just being stupid and being a fascist? Why do you think those two things are like mutually exclusive or separate? They're one and the same. Fascism is naturally anti-empirical, and stupidity makes it very easy to be that. Fascism is just a stupid ideology. If fascism can make idiots of otherwise smart people, it can certainly make idiots of already existing idiots.
Said to
Trans, you can't change your gender.
And what if somebody said to you, you know, you're not a real woman? You're not a real woman because maybe you don't meet these certain specific definitions of femininity.
That's fine. I don't care. They can call me whatever you want.
Oh, okay. So now we're being subjective about it.
But what if you would be forced to live by that system? Do you think it's fair that you would, you know, be forced
Is that
to
based in like science?
Well, I don't think any of it's really.
Yeah, no, sure. Okay, yeah. Let's say you had some kind of weirdo Handmaid's Tale, ultra-conservative Orthodox government, and basically because they're like ultra-chauvinistic, they say, actually, legally, a woman has to have breasts of a certain size. If you're an adult woman and you're flat-chested, you're getting a boob job because that's how we promote traditional gender roles. Flat-chestedness is for men. Get your boob job, you're going to have some big honkers. And the poor victim, Chaya Right Cheek, just barely falls below the double D cutoff point, and people are saying that she's not a woman, okay? There, that is biologically, that is a biological line right there. That's empirical. It can be like empirically determined. It's a category that can be verified. What do you do? Does it not matter anymore? I see people in chat agreeing with this line of thinking. I'm just trying to point out that it's stupid. Okay.
Really based in science.
Well, it is.
Gender
There are
is
two
a
sexes.
social construct.
Well, gender is actually made up.
Exactly.
Yeah. Whoa.
Yes, we
by
agree on
someone
this. We agree.
By a child predator, by a pedophile.
We don't agree.
Yeah,
We don't agree on
so he made up gender, and now they conflate the two, and they use it to basically trans kids.
But then why does she use the term gender? She uses the term... Wait, what? She uses that term. Is this the right-wing version of Yakub? Yeah, basically. There was an anti-trans researcher who abused some kids, and his name was Jonathan Gender. And so he invented gender. But then weirdly, conservatives will still defer to gender roles, even though they're socially arbitrary.
So there are actually two sexes, and there are zero
It was John Money. No, that was the guy who invented money, you idiot. John Gender invented gender.
genders, and there are many personalities. That's what I believe.
Okay. You know, a lot of LGBTQ people say that your posts cause an enormous amount of pain. How does that make you feel?
How does it make you feel that you're
What about you? Every question, man.
on me causes me pain?
I feel sad for that, honestly. Yeah.
So would you stop?
No, I'm a journalist and you're a public figure. But I'm just talking about, you know, these non-public figures, right? These non-public figures that
Well,
are...
if you put yourself out there on a public platform, then you're kind of making
So
yourself
anybody
public.
that posts on social media is a public figure in your mind?
If you're putting your videos out there with the intention that it should go viral, you want publicity.
What? What definition of public figures? Anyone who posts on social media is a public figure. That's everyone. John Money was a real person. Yeah, the inventor of money. No shit. Where do you think it came from?
So if somebody's posting on social media, which inherently posting on social media, you're looking for attention, right?
Yeah, a public figure is actually anybody who's ever been outside.
You're saying that meets the bar for a public figure?
I'm not a lawyer.
But I'm asking your opinion.
I think that these people, well, first of all, a lot of the people I post about are actually in positions that are public,
But
teachers,
I'm talking about the people
doctors.
that haven't, right? The individual private citizens that you've posted who are not, I would argue they're not public figures. You're saying they are public figures because they're posting on social media?
They want to be public. They're public. They're going on a public platform and publicly posting a video.
What did John Boob Job invent? The Eisenhower flask. Wait, fuck, that's not it. The Eisen something flask. Damn it, I ruined the joke. Moving on.
On a social media site that
Ermenheyer?
is meant for your videos to go viral.
Erlenmeyer.
And what about Twitter? Would you consider Twitter as well a platform?
I was
where-
thinking of something that like obviously was named after the person who made it. You know what I mean? Because like Erlen might like that had to have been a guy's name. So I thought, okay, yeah.
Stuff is meant to go viral?
Every social media. If someone posts something on social media, it could go viral. It's always a risk.
Got it. So when you were building your audience and had hundreds of thousands of followers, then would you also agree that you were a public figure?
I think that if anyone who puts something out there publicly, anyone could share their stuff.
Got it. And so but I'm saying you consider these people, LGBTQ people, who are just posting on social media, public figures.
I said I'm not a lawyer. I don't know the legal definition.
I'm just asking your
of public
opinion.
figure.
One thing you noted, and I'm only asking this because I know that you've noted that, when I...
It's so f***ing embarrassing that Chaya Raichik is delivering the most dickless interview performance I've ever seen in my entire life, and she like went to the trouble to print out a picture of Taylor Lorenz, like I guess crying in the shirt that she's wearing, in case anyone like came in later and is wondering what that shirt is. The interviewer that she is talking to, that's her. So like she comes in with that shirt but no energy. It's so weak.
I reported on you that you felt like it was unfair and that you didn't meet the bar for a public figure. So I'm just kind of wondering, as somebody with such a large social media audience, you're saying people with much smaller social media audiences meet the bar for a public figure. Wouldn't you have considered yourself a public figure?
If anyone puts out content publicly, then that content could go anywhere. That's what I believe. It could go viral. Anyone could share it. It could go to the wrong side. What they call the wrong side of TikTok.
Yeah.
It could go, people will see it. You can't control that. Mm-hmm. That's why they hate me, because they want to create this content and they only want their bubble to see it. And then I'm like showing it to other people and they just can't handle it.
I think you're editorializing it as well.
No, I provide very little commentary, probably the least from any other Twitter account that's even a quarter my size.
Let's talk about drag shows. You've come out a lot about, you're very against drag shows. Can you give any examples of children being harmed from drag shows?
Then how are you a journalist? Yeah, good question, by the way. How is she an independent journalist if she provides like no editorialization? Also, Chaya Raichik doesn't have to provide any editorialization. If there was a Nazi account on Twitter, I say as if there aren't tons of them, who just posted like videos of Jews on TikTok talking about Jewish issues, and then they got a bunch of death threats, they wouldn't have to add anything. That's what people mean when they say like the wrong side of whatever. You don't have to say anything. If your audience is already aware of the fact that this account is like a Nazi account and they're fine with that, and they just like post a bunch of videos of Jewish people with like links to it or whatever, they know exactly what they're doing.
Yeah, there was one where this mom was saying that her kid decided to be non-binary after watching the drag show, and then the drag queen helped the kid buy like new clothes to be non-binary.
And you consider that harmful?
Right, the non-binary clothes, yeah.
Yeah, well, because non-binary is made up. Like there's no such thing as non-binary. And then it just leads a kid on a path where probably they'll end up in a hospital getting some of their body parts chopped off.
You seem very against plastic surgery. Are you against...
Well, I'm against sex change surgeries.
Uh-huh. What about women that want to get their boobs done, want to get their nose done, want to get cheek implants?
We're just going to go in circles.
You haven't answered that question. You haven't answered it.
Curious?
But it's good to note that you're comparing nose jobs to teen girls getting their breasts chopped off.
Well, there actually is a pretty big difference. It's that top surgery has been known to produce positive outcomes and has a much, much, much lower regret rate than nose jobs, which have a lot of complaints and like actually quite high regret rates because they're purely cosmetic. And they're usually done by people who are insecure about their appearance rather than people trying to address dysphoria, which is a much deeper and more essential feeling than just regular old insecurity.
Often teen girls also get boob jobs to make their breasts bigger, right? So both are gender affirming in different ways. You seem very obsessed with one and not interested in the other. So that's kind of what I'm interested in. And I guess I don't really understand that because...
Look at this. Cosmetic rhinoplasty revision rates revised. The overall complication, dissatisfaction, and revision rates were 7.9%, 15.4%, and 9.8% respectively. Holy shit. 1 in 7 rhinoplasties from this study. Dissatisfaction. Revision rate, 1 in 10. Complication rate, 1 in 12-ish. basically like an order of magnitude away from these figures for various gender affirming care. Chat, not all nose jobs are cosmetic. True. Yeah, they can also be done for yeah. There can be medical reasons to it, but I think we're talking about I guess both here. Either way, the point stands. But yeah, plastic surgery. Yeah.
Both are gender affirming in different ways.
I don't call it gender affirming care. I call it sex change
gender destroying care, because it destroys your natural gender.
Surgeries for people who are sold a lie that they can change their sex.
Where do you sort of hope this will end up? You know, like all of this sort of the advocacy that you're doing. I know you said you don't have a 5-year plan for yourself, but what are some, what's if you were sort of like gonna describe your platform? What are some things that you'd like to see, meaningful changes in terms of policies, laws?
Oh, I want to eradicate gender ideology from...
Hey, do you have any policy ideas? You know, like policy that you could do in the form of law, like something that you could put in a book, you know, law, like something enforceable. Yeah, I want to like eradicate transgender.
From public life.
From public life completely?
Yeah.
Remember how earlier Taylor pointed out that she wants to eradicate transgenderism, and Chaya said, no, I don't. And then Taylor was like, okay, well, you retweeted a post that said they wanted to. And then she didn't say anything. And now she's like, yeah, I want to eradicate it. Like, genuinely nothing. Oh, yeah, she's a gender abolitionist. You know, this is actually like praxis put to action.
Yeah, the whole thing is built on a lie.
Well, you certainly have a gender yourself.
Gender ideology. No, I don't. I have a sex.
Oh.
Gender. There's no such thing as gender.
Okay.
I said gender is made up. There's no such thing
I
as
agree
gender.
that gender is a completely social construct.
No, it doesn't exist. It's
Okay.
there are 0 genders. I have a sex. I'm female.
There are 0 genders.
Yeah.
So you want to live in sort of a post-gender world,
Gender
where
abolitionist.
everybody can kind of express themselves through personality however they like.
Well, that's what it is now. But they're just calling it gender.
So, your
But
problem
there's
is,
males and females.
She's denying science. I'll show my. Yeah, there's a reason why conservative lines on this are that there are 2 genders, not 0 genders. The line conservatives say are that there are 2 genders, and gender and sex mean the same thing, basically. Her doing the 0 gender bit is really stupid and creates unnecessary work for her ideologically. She could just say they're 2 terms for the same basic category, and that trans activists try to blow it out into some other thing, you know? That's wrong, but that's the general line. But she's stupid, so despite the fact that she should have prepared for this interview and also has been for years reiterating these talking points, she can't say shit.
Males. And then,
so if
there's
they were to,
infinite...
I'm just kind of curious here, and I'm certainly not a gender scholar, so I'm not sure, maybe somebody sort of posed this question too, but if people were to let's just say, you know what, fine, we eliminate male, female, non-binary, whatever gender, we eliminate that. We're all just people, or we identify by our sex. Would you still be okay with people, wearing dresses if, they appear to be biologically male, or...
See, and this is why. Because by ignoring the existence of gender and pretending she doesn't believe in it, she now can't provide any sex essentialist arguments. She would provide gender essentialist arguments about how men and women ought do these things. That's what conservatives normally do, but she can't do that now, at least not without contradicting herself, which I think she's about to. So now she has to either walk it back, or she has to say, actually, no, there are sex-based reasons why people with penises can't wear dresses.
Women shaving their head, things like that. Are you still okay with that, as long as they're not calling themselves by a different name?
Don't sexualize kids. That's...
What? Yeah, she can't engage with this. It's a total non-starter.
That's what I'm against.
But I'm just saying, like, you want to live in a post-gender world where there's no gender, right? And anybody can just have the personality and express themselves however they want.
That's how it is now. These people who are calling themselves a different gender,
but I'm just saying, you're
not
right,
really
and your issue is with the language around that, right? So I'm saying, let's eliminate the language. All right, do you support people, adults? Let's just talk about adults for the sake of, this discussion. Do you support those adults having bodily autonomy, dressing, acting, painting their nails or shaving their head?
By the way, when conservatives say that a young boy wearing a dress is sexualizing that young boy, what they are admitting is that they think it's sexual for a young girl to wear a dress. They think of the dress as an innately sexually desirable instrument of clothing that should be reserved exclusively for girls. That is what they are saying. That it's not even remotely ambiguous. It's not a reach. That is what they are saying.
Or doing whatever they want to do to express themselves.
I don't care if a guy wants to paint his nails.
So you don't care about...
Leave the kids out of it. Don't sexualize the kids. Don't confuse the kids.
So speaking of sexualization of kids, I think one...
I wish Taylor would really hone in on this. Like, okay, what if a guy who calls himself a guy wants to get like a boob job or wear a dress or whatever else, or like take hormones, what? But they're a guy. They're just a guy who ends up transitioning and looking just like you or whatever. That'd be a very funny. It would incite a interesting answer, I feel.
One group of young people that's constantly sexualized is young women. What are your thoughts, and why haven't you, come out more against some of the sort of sexualization of young women, especially in the right-wing media ecosystem? There's a focus on youth in women. There's a focus on sort of women under 25, women losing value with
Careful. If she keeps making these points, Ethan Klein is going to call her a pedophile.
age. This is stuff, that's been
I'm a
platformed on the
woman
Daily Wire.
in the conservative movement. I never once felt sexualized.
You've never felt sexualized yourself, but I'm saying, why don't you speak out about sort of sexual abuse in the straight world, I guess?
So you just changed topics.
No, I'm saying like...
Wait, I'm sorry. I thought we were talking about trans, but you just did a comparison? I don't understand. I can't follow. You're moving at light speed.
You're saying we're against the sexualization of kids.
Yeah.
One group of children that's constantly sexualized is young women. 13-year-old girls, 14-year-old girls are constantly sexualized on the internet, often by conservatives. So I'm wondering, especially given, what some commentary has come from like people at the Daily Wire, for instance, right? They've made comments about young women losing value with age, which is kind of a pedophile ideology. Why not speak out on that?
I've never seen that. I have no evidence.
You've never seen young women?
I've never seen that. I don't know. Okay, what about the fact that there are a bunch of child sex trafficking awareness organizations that talk at length about... It's like, the whole situation is very, very complicated. But if you want to take a look at the evidence we have for the abuse of children being a broader issue, this is not a homosexual problem. Yeah, every day some new pastor or minister gets arrested for raping kids. The child sex trafficking industry overwhelmingly targets young girls. Even conservatives know this, because conservatives will literally tell, it's common advice. If you have a young daughter, you give them, more, you try to imbue in them more caution when it comes to that kind of stuff. If this was all an issue with homosexuals or the queer community, then why would that be the case?
Women getting sexualized?
I focus on kids.
And you've never seen young girls getting sexualized?
I've seen young girls getting sexualized. I'm referring to the Daily Wire thing. I can't answer for that.
But let's just talk about young girls. Why don't you speak out about that? Why don't you speak out about sort of heteronormative cisgender men, traditional men, sexualizing young girls, young female girls?
I speak out about the sexualization of kids.
But you don't speak out about sort of the sexualization of kids by straight people.
I don't discriminate on who's sexualizing the kids.
But
if the kid's being sexualized...
Well, but there's only one group of kids that you're talking about, which is you're concerned about sort of people being sexualized by the LGBTQ community. I'm saying a lot of straight older men.
Not necessarily the LGBTQ. I mean, if they're, I don't want straight teachers to be talking about their sexuality in schools either.
Yeah, dude. Straight teachers never talk about their husbands or whatever. We never talk about heterosexuality in sex ed. It never comes up. They always love to do this, where they 100% direct all their hatred one way, but then when questioned on it, they're like, no, actually, I'm opposed to everything bad. I talk about everything bad just as it comes up to me. It's just, I just focus on whatever I see at the time. And it's just a coincidence that 100% of my hate and vitriol is directed against a tiny fraction of a single percentage of the entire population,
So you wouldn't be okay with a straight teacher, for instance, discussing their marriage?
I think it's weird.
Uh-huh.
Why would
Really? Then go do it. Call out some TikToks. where like a teacher, just a regular like lady teacher, elementary school is like, yeah, I talked about how my husband does work in like marine biology, and all the kids in class were like, oh, cool. So I showed them some pictures of like a big like squid, and they were like, ah, like go do a react vid on that, and have a bunch of people call them a pedophile or something.
Someone discuss their marriage in a classroom.
Honestly, I don't know. You were a teacher. I feel like teachers sometimes do that. I do think that there is a sexualization of children from straight couples. I mean, I know that I went shopping for a friend recently to find little baby onesies. And when you're looking for little boy baby onesies, a lot of them say, I want, where's my mommy's tits or whatever. You see these kind of, I would say, sexual innuendo on babies' clothes. I've never seen you post about that. I've never seen you post about sort of sexualization from the straight community, I guess.
I don't discriminate against who's doing the sexualization.
It is true and crazy though. Like you're walking through like a Target because you need to pick up some detergent on your way back home, and you walk past the like maternity/baby section, and there's like a onesie that's about 3 inches tall with like big dick lady killer printed on it in like impact font or something. Like there's some weird shit. I have no idea how they get away with that crap.
I guess, like, what are you defining as sexualization? But I've never said like, oh, look, here's porn in school and the librarian is not straight. No, I don't care who the librarian is. I don't care if they're straight or gay or trans or whatever they want to say they are.
Yeah, I just think it seems...
There's weirder shit in girls' clothes. Yeah, like clothes clearly meant for young girls with shit like watch out, better talk to my dad first or something, and then like a graphic of like a skeleton holding a shotgun or whatever. There's some weird, yeah.
I guess I wonder why you don't focus on sort of like young girls as a woman. I mean, were you ever sexualized as a young child? No. I find that interesting because I think all women kind of experience that, although it depends on your community. But I do think that there's a focus on women and age as well. And there's this notion that women lose value as they age. And I know I hear that all the time in my comments from conservatives.
I've never once seen that. Actually.
You've never seen that?
No.
The crazy thing is that Chaya is so stupid that she might actually think she's telling the truth here. I'm not kidding. She might actually be so stupid and vapid that she doesn't understand or perceive. Because that's actually not too uncommon, where you have people who deal with a lot of systemic discrimination, but they don't really perceive it because it doesn't benefit them to perceive it. Like, it might actually be, as a self-defense mechanism, preferable to not really understand how bad it is. She also just doesn't know what sexualization means. Like, sexualization to her means what? Like, what do they say? Don't sexualize kids, and by that they mean like don't, like, kids can't be gay, but they can be straight. Like, it doesn't make any sense.
I've never seen a conservative figure say that women lose value when they age.
Okay, maybe she is just lying.
Why do you think there's such an obsession about women and ages then?
Women, I've never known there was an obsession. I don't know.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
Okay, yeah, she's 100% just lying. This woman grew up with like a bitter mother telling her every day about how you need to get a husband young. I know what these vapid, wealthy, conservative communities are like, and the women have that mandate drilled into them. And being a conservative figure, never noticing this shit. She did get a husband young. She's divorced now. Is she divorced? Not very trad.
Women and ages?
Yeah. There is a notion, especially platformed by conservative media, that women lose value as they get older. You see this espoused constantly when people are talking about reproductive capabilities.
I don't think they got married. Oh, was that fake news? Whatever.
Oh, her eggs.
You're saying when they promote like family values, like, oh, you should get married and have kids? Is that what you call sexualization?
No. I'm talking about more derogatory remarks made against women and their age. I bring it up because I think a lot of your fans seem to obsess about women and ages, and so it's misogyny at its core, and I never see you speak up about that. So I was just kind of curious about.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'm wondering, like.
She had a fiance, but he dumped her. I would too. Jesus, can you imagine living with this? Can you imagine having to have a conversation with this? Holy shit.
Why you don't speak up about the sexualization of kids?
I don't think it's a problem. I don't see as much. If I saw an example of a child being sexualized, of course I have a problem with you know, certain things. I will actually, you know, I will say.
So do you think we should give kids porn in school? The images of like gay sex?
So I had I went to public school, and in public school, at least when I was growing up, we were absolutely given literature, you know, explaining sex, educating people.
It had pictures of like anal sex.
Oh, absolutely, and it actually talked about condom.
Yeah, wait, yeah, high school sex ed or whatever, whichever sex ed. I don't think it was middle school. I don't remember. Fucking, like, yeah, there's like diagrams and stuff. It's an important subject. Yeah.
Use.
What grade?
God, I mean, I don't remember, but certainly probably middle school. I think that's when we had sex ed.
So you think like books like Gender Queer, This Book is Gay, we should give that to kids in school?
I have not read those books, so I don't know. But I do think that it's important to educate kids about sexuality, if nothing else, because, you know, I have spoken to women that were abused sexually when they were young, very young. And one thing that they've told me is that they wish that they had the language to talk about it, and they weren't educated. They grew up in a...
Yep, remember, getting rid of sex education is literally like #1 point for groomers. Like there is nothing that child predators want more than for young people to have no way to explain or articulate what's happening to them or understand that it's wrong. You know, the whole point of sex ed, or well, one of the big points of sex ed, there's a bunch of reasons why we teach sex ed, but one of the big reasons for sex ed is to like identify abuse. And if the kids have no idea, then they're very easy targets.
I only know 2 that I've spoken to about this, but they've grown up in sort of societies where they weren't very educated about sex ed. They didn't receive sex ed in class. They went to a Catholic school or other sorts of schooling. And so I do think it's really important for kids to understand sex, because as we all know, a lot of teenagers can be sexually active. And I think sex education is important to promote, you know, healthy attitudes, healthy understandings of sex. I mean, these are human bodies. You can't just expect to send kids off at 18 with absolutely no sex ed and then think that they can function in the world.
So we should give kids like pictures of gay sex.
Like nothing. Jingling keys, nothing. Nothing's going on over there. Absolutely nothing. No engagement.
In middle school and actually elementary school, some of them.
I guess I'm wondering what you consider that. I think.
Do you want to see a picture?
Well, I don't know, but
I'm always asking people this. Do you want to see gay sex photos? I have my phone.
I guess those don't look like what I received when I did sex ed, but I think sex ed is important because it actually helps.
So you didn't have those types of things when you were in school?
Oh no, we had sex ed.
I'm saying the images I post on my Twitter.
Did you, when you had sex ed in school, did you not get books with graphic
with
imagery?
pictures of gay sex?
I remember.
See, notice how, remember how earlier she pretended that she's not reactionary and she has like an even hand when it comes to the sexualization of children, but she keeps saying gay sex, gay sex, gay sex. She's a fascist. When she says gay sex, it's because her issue is with degeneracy. She's pretending that her argument is about the sexualization of children, but it's pretty obvious where her problems lie with regards to gay sex. Taylor said earlier, hey, why don't you ever call out any abuse of children that comes from the straight community? And Chaya Raichik is like, I just don't really see that happen. I'm either like, if I saw that, it'd be, if I saw any of that, I'd say it, but I don't see it. I don't see it, so I don't say it. By the way, did you really get shown pictures of gay sex? You know?
I remember, I don't remember how old you are, but I grew up in the 90s when HIV and AIDS was a big thing, and we certainly learned about gay sex in school.
So those pictures I post on my Twitter, you had graphics like that?
I actually don't know. I don't remember, to be honest. But I do think that it's really important to educate
knowing those
kids.
Pictures, you seem to know very well what those pictures are. Do you think that?
I don't. I've seen
Oh, you kept referencing it.
Well, I've seen you post things,
then
but I don't
pull
know.
it up.
But I think, yeah, I guess I feel...
Bringing up
Because we
the
need
gay
to put
sex.
this into context.
Yeah.
Context.
Well, we won't know the context, of course, because we don't know the context of how those things are being taught.
Oh, so we could give kids like pictures of gay sex.
Gay sex, by the way, not a reactionary. Equally interested in preventing sexualization of all children. Gay sex.
As long as it's in the proper context.
I don't know. I mean, it's up to the educator to determine, right? I don't know. I guess I'm kind of curious, Kaya, why you sort
The
of...
Nazi desire to fill your phone storage with things you hate. Yeah, I'll never forget that that debate that I had with that like boomer hick guy who was like, yeah, I fill my phone with videos of black people beating up white people so I can look at them and get angry. That was wild. That's like the median conservative now.
Sort of focus so much about the LGBT. You keep mentioning gay sex, but you don't mention straight.
You're not going to show that on screen, right? Wait, does she show it on screen? No, she does, you liar. She does. I'm looking at a preview right now and she does. Why would you lie? Why would you say no if you... I'm muting all of you. Hold on. You're all muted for the rest of the day. Thank you guys. I'm literally looking at the thumbnail, the preview thing. You just say no reflexively. You know, there's a reason why I asked that. Mistress Lynn told the truth and said she does. Mistress Lynn is safe. Reza Sutra, I expected better from you. No, she shows Taylor. Nope, she shows the camera as well. Seeing a clip of it on Twitter does not mean you've seen the entire damn video. Okay, there we go. F you guys. Losers.
Sex. Why is there such a focus on the LGBTQ world?
Oh, I don't want pictures of sex in school. Any pictures.
So you don't think children should receive any sort of sexual education, straight or gay?
I said I don't want pictures of sex in school.
But you think that they should receive picture-free sex education?
Just playing it safe.
No, I think we discussed this earlier.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm curious kind of how you're thinking, you know, when you think about the way that you put out content and the way that you think about growing your media empire.
Here, this is a blowjob.
I don't know what book this is from.
Genderqueer.
Okay.
So should this picture of a blowjob be in elementary schools?
Okay, there's the point where it shows. So now I know where to cut it off. That's funny. It's somebody giving a blowjob to a strap. It's literally like completely nothing. It's infinitely less graphic than a million anatomical photos. I saw a video of a bitch giving birth. That was way worse, a million times over. It's nothing.
You know, when you think about the way that you put out content and the way that you think about growing your media empire.
Here, this is a blowjob.
I'm not showing past
I don't know
that
what book this is from.
Gender.
Just like,
Queer.
Okay.
So should this picture of a blowjob be in
I
elementary
show the
schools?
screen. It's literally just
I've never seen a book like that in elementary schools, but I have no
Oh,
idea.
It has been. I
Okay.
posted about it, yeah.
So tell me a little bit
So
about.
should it be in elementary schools?
Okay.
I have no idea the context. I have no idea.
So
the
in what
context.
context is it okay if it would be in
I
elementary
have
schools?
absolutely no idea. I have absolutely no idea. I would not. I don't know, Kaya, because I haven't seen the rest of that book. I don't know what's in there. I don't know the context.
But there is a context that it would be okay to give kids pictures like that of gay sex, anal sex in
I guess
elementary
sex.
school.
I guess sex pictures in school. I don't know because you know who I would defer to on that. Just
I think that Taylor could be a lot stronger on this and just say, like, literally, there are anatomical books that show like sex and stuff about sex. I saw a video of a woman giving birth. You know, there are pictures. It's like, grow up. You kidding me? Like, I think you could take a much harder stance on this because, like, Taylor deferring to like the context of the teacher constructed environment would come across to a lot of conservatives as her being like unwilling to own up to it or whatever. But literally, like the picture of the gender whatever the she just showed, you know, is like infinitely more tame than any normal anatomical drawing. It's just stupid.
because neither of us are sex educators.
I think Taylor's kind of thrown off of how weird it was for her to show her that. Yep, it is pretty weird.
I would defer that question to a qualified professional, a sex educator, and say, hey, you're an expert. You've treated tons, you've educated tons of people. You're a full-time sex educator. You've really studied this. What are the appropriate boundaries? I don't think that myself as a journalist or a media personality, I don't think I'm the right one to make that decision. And I guess I'm wondering why
I have seen sex educators say that they want these books in schools.
Okay.
So then you're okay with it?
I think I would want to talk to the sex educator and rely on whatever the sex educators say.
Okay.
I'm wondering why you feel like you're qualified to be a sex educator when you have no background in that.
I don't want to be a sex educator. I just don't want to give kids porn in school.
I totally understand.
Okay, then Taylor should ask, okay, is it porn to show like anatomical diagrams? Is that pornography? Because this is literally like fully just a drawing of an erect penis. Is that pornography? Because that's more than anything shown in the little comic you just showed.
And tell me a little bit more about sort of, just to change topic, about your content world. You put out a lot. You've got a whole staff now. How do you see your business growing, and what areas would you like to expand into?
I'm not going to get into my business strategy.
Uh-huh. Do you see yourself, I've noticed that you've been doing more video content. Are you leading harder into Rumble?
I like doing video content.
Do you have a partnership
I think that the Chaya Raichik should really lean into that natural charisma that she has.
with Rumble?
No.
Would you?
Maybe.
what are your thoughts on sort of the way that Twitter has evolved?
I love Twitter. It's the best. I love Elon. Elon rocks.
Have you spoken to Elon?
Saved free speech. Not like on the phone.
So this is what I mean by stupidity and fascism overlapping. They work together really well here. A lot of what she's saying is just like pre-baked talking points, but she doesn't have the charisma to lean it through. Yeah, she doesn't even call it X.
Have you talked? Would you meet with him?
Yeah.
What's been sort of
What's been your like kind of criticism of Elon, because you're like outspoken against Elon?
I'm a huge supporter of free speech and free expression, and I haven't liked the way that Elon has kind of arbitrarily banned journalists. I think that's a little concerning.
Who did he ban?
Oh, many. I mean, he banned, I think he banned Tyler Brown, the researcher. He banned, obviously, myself, Drew Harwell, other journalists.
So how do you feel about all of the conservatives that were being banned left and right when Jack Dorsey had Twitter?
Remember how I've said before that arguments from hypocrisy are the lowest IQ arguments? Here you go. Perfect example. That's all she's done this entire time. That's all she has. She never engages with a point. All she ever does is like, well, what about this other thing? Do you denounce that? Every single time. It is like genuinely a low IQ argument. It's like a lower form of thought. You know, it's like a debased, dirt-like argument. It's nothing.
I'm of the personal opinion, and I've said this on Twitter and many times, that, look, it's up to every private platform to set their own community guidelines. I'm not a huge believer in permanent bans. And I've always said that. And I defend that in the sense that these platforms evolve and people's usage of them evolve and people evolve. As you just said, you were a completely private citizen 5 years ago. You had no political ideology. Now you have a political ideology. You're a very different person.
So when I got banned from Twitter, you were upset at that? Like you thought that was wrong?
I don't remember you getting banned from Twitter.
I got banned a few times. Not permanently, but
previous to Elon.
Yeah.
My feeling about any bans is that there should be a path to redemption, should you say. That doesn't mean that I don't think that it's in the right prerogative to ban people for 5 years, 10 years, whatever. I just personally feel like if you're going to issue lifetime bans, you should give people a path to abide by community guidelines. If you join back on and you break community guidelines again, look, that's on you. But
Twitter literally made an exception to not permaban libs with TikTok. Yep. Before Elon bought Twitter, Jack and the dipshits who ran it prior were terrified of conservatives accusing them of bias, so they had specific marks where they would say, no, even though these conservative accounts constantly violate the rules, you can't ban them because it would lead to too much fallout. They've literally admitted that if they applied their rules fairly and evenly, conservatives would have been nuked off the site, but they were given a special privilege because the conservative movement on Twitter got so bad so quickly that any fair application of their terms of service would have, in practice, been discriminatory against conservatism in the same way that, like, law is discriminatory against murder, you know?
Personally, I think that, that's just my belief, and I've talked about that for years. I think that there should be a path to abiding by. If somebody says, hey, look, I know I broke community guidelines, I know what I was posting was wrong, and in sort of violating those rules, I could see tech companies allowing that back. And actually, that's what Elon has done, right? I mean, he reinstated all those people that were permanently banned.
Elon is the greatest free speech warrior, I think, of all time.
Remember, her entire career right now, look at her face. She is so checked out. Her entire career right now is dependent on her having, like, prominence on Twitter, you know? Chaya Raichik doesn't have any unique drive or personality or charisma. It's pretty much just the inertia of her being the Twitter stochastic terrorism lady. So, like, obviously she's going to glaze him as much as possible. Oh, yeah, she has been during this whole interview. Yeah, because she has to know how stupid she comes across, right? She doesn't look very happy to be here. She doesn't look, like, triumphant after making any point. She just looks frustrated that she has to say things out loud and be scrutinized for her stupidity.
Well, I'm trying to think what else. I feel like I've gotten through most
I think
of these
that's
things.
it. I think we're good.
What else do you have
We're good.
going on?
Nothing much, I'll just continue making fun of the media like I do best.
I still can't, I don't think you answered me to begin with, but what are some of your favorite media outlets?
I said I like independent journalists.
But who?
Like some of the people I follow on Twitter have the best news.
Like who?
Incredible. She does. She literally just, like, reads whatever gets retweeted to her feed. That's it.
What are your top three?
I would say, first of all, I love Daily Wire. You know, I like Ben Shapiro, Matt Walsh. I like everything they do.
She doesn't. She doesn't know. That's literally the first thing you would say. She doesn't. She doesn't consume anything from the Daily Wire. I'm willing to bet. She literally just whatever gets retweeted to her shit. That's it. Also, yeah, independent journalists. Daily Wire, $100 million company.
I really like Jack Posobiec. Shout out to Jack. He's
A Nazi. Gotcha.
great. I like Mike Cernovich.
A Nazi. Great.
He's cool. Who else is there? Yeah, there's a few others.
Are you still on Substack?
Do they even claim to be independent journalists? Do Posobiec, do those two even pretend to be? I thought I didn't even realize they called themselves that. Jack probably does. Yeah, maybe Jack does. I don't know.
By the way, I know you had a Substack at some point.
Yeah. What are your top media place for news?
404 Media. Love 404 Media. Are you familiar with them?
No.
Great website. Independent journalists. Walter Bragman, who does Important Context. Great Substack writer. A huge fan of his work. God, there's so many. Matt Bellany, Lucas Shaw, Julia Alexander. Yeah, great people. Yeah, try to see. I feel like
Okay. I've seen a bit from the end here.
that's it. I'm just trying to think
Get
of
an
news.
Uber and get out of here. I'm gonna order an Uber.
Come on.
All right, let's make sure. Let's see. I know, sorry. Thank you so much. Let's see. Oh my God, I think this died. Oh my God, it did. Wait, let's see.
Wait, does it not? Where's the bit at the end? The final punchline, the final joke. Is it at the very beginning? When does it happen? Is it not in the video? Oh, I looked up Chaya Raichik jean skirt and I got a Okay Buddy Vouch post. Remarkable. Shoulders broader than hips. Hoodie hides male shoulder shape. Chaya Raichik is wearing a jean skirt, an ankle-length jean skirt that gives you room to waddle like a penguin. Remarkable. I have never seen an item of clothing like this. It's the dress. Yeah, it's the dress. It's not even a skirt. It goes down here. It's like hateful and dripless. Unforgivable. No kidding.